Hi, and welcome to this week's video blog. I'm Sarah Hammerkert, and I'm glad you joined me. Today I want to talk about the desire for peace. How many of you want a peaceful home? I'm going to raise my hand because I love quiet in my home. It's summertime here now, and the kids are home, which is great, but our house gets a little more noisy, and I have to kind of readjust myself from a quiet home with me and the 3 cats who sleep most of the day to a noisier home with my kids around, playing music, doing things. The desire for a peaceful, calm home isn't wrong, but many times we as parents try to achieve it at all costs. We intervene to have peace. And that can be detrimental to children learning how to resolve conflict on their own. We need to help them desire peace for themselves. And here are 2 simple ways parents can help their kids achieve peace. When they're fighting, when they're having discussions and that sort of thing. We need to keep our distance. We don't need to jump in every single time our kids start mixing it up. We need to wait and see how they're going to handle this. We also need to kind of not say a lot. We need to let them try to resolve it, and later on in my video blog series, I'm going to talk about the tools for argument, the rules for confrontation, so that we can give our kids these pieces they need to peacefully resolve it. But right now we're just talking about helping our kids want to achieve peace. So we need to make sure that we're not talking too much about it. Now, we must have show them through our own example what we mean by this. Now, because conflict is inevitable, right? We don't have peaceful homes all the time because we're all sinful people who get into fights. So we as parents have a lot of influence when it comes to our children's behavior. How we resolve conflict or don't settle the disagreement impacts how our children will deal with the discord. So I'm going to give you a few ground rules to follow on top of helping them develop a desire for peace. How we as parents can show conflict resolution in front of our kids. First, make sure that your topics are appropriate. There are certain things we probably shouldn't argue about in front of our kids. And I don't think, I'm not going to give you a list of those because I think every family is going to have their own list, but you're going to know what's appropriate to argue in front of your kids and what's not. So make sure that it's something that is age appropriate, is topic appropriate, and is something that can be resolved quickly. Now, if it's a big discussion over whether or not you're going to go visit grandma for Christmas because of something like that, you might not want to have that argument in front of your kids. But if you're going to talk about, you know, I don't know, what your husband, why your husband's working late all the time, maybe you can have that in front of your kids. I mean, these are silly examples, but you get what I mean. You have to think through what you want to talk about in front of your kids. Don't stop halfway. Conflict resolution has a natural arc to it. There's the beginning, the source of the matter, a middle, both sides expressing their points, and an end, both parties agree to a solution. All too often, our kids only see the beginning. They only see, or maybe part of the middle, where we're maybe yelling at each other. They don't maybe see how we came to that compromise, how we resolved it. So make sure that they see that entire arc. Now, they may not see the entire arc in person, but we need to remind them. Like sometimes when our kids were littler, when we had an argument and then they had to go to bed and they maybe didn't see it, we would say the next day, oh, you know that argument your dad and I had last night? Well, we resolved it. I apologize. It was not right of me to do that. He forgave me, and we compromised about this, and it's all good now. That kind of thing, just to kind of bring it full circle. But they should see us fighting openly sometimes so they can see how we handle it, good and bad. And sometimes you need to say, you know, I didn't handle that so well. I shouldn't have yelled at your father. Even though I was upset, I could have handled it better. But if we don't fight openly, our kids don't get to see that kind of full circle. And talk about the conflict. You know, talk about that you're struggling with not yelling at a spouse, or that you wish you could overcome this particular element and you just simply can't. You're just something that you're struggling with about it. When we are open with our kids and we show them that we too struggle with conflict resolution, I think it can give them kind of hope, right? That we don't expect them to get it right all the time, but we know that with practice, they're going to get better. They can see us getting better with our own arguments, our own conflict resolution. So desire peace and give a parental example on how to resolve conflict. Those are the key points for today's video, and I hope I'll see you next time.